you got the floor.
All right, so this week it was an alright week. Nothing but pretty much singles. The day that really stood out to me was just this Tuesday day, just because like I really got very undisciplined on my trading. Monday I didn't trade at all because I didn't see any setups that were good, so I just was waiting for Tuesday. And Tuesday we had HTZGQ, but I want you to just notice on just like all of my notice just on my position size and how every single one has always just been like 3,000, 3,000, most 4,000. But the median of them, or the mean of them, will be around like 3,000, $3,500 on my average position size. And on this particular trade, I went in crazy, crazy big. I went in with 8,000 because it was an OTC panic dip buy. But the thing about it is, with this position sizing, I still was not following my systematic approach of like how I dip by these panics because of the just the history of the market. And if you go into just my entries and exits on them, I was all over the place with the panic. And this was, I will say, this was a just a choppy panic in general. As you see, at first I did a little scalp on it just to make a quick bucks, which was already a red flag. I'm not a scalper. I try to take moves when I take a position. I want to be in it because I feel like I can get a nice percent gain out of it. And I bought the panic thinking that it was gonna bounce right here. There was stacking action on the level two, but it turned super quick, pulled right into the panic. It bounced, so I had sloppy sales right here. Then sold right into the weakness. Didn't even wait for it to bounce. Tried to guess a double bottom, or not a double bottom, but a higher low right here at 178. That because I trade off a systematic approach, 30% would have been at 183. And in hindsight, it's just like, why didn't you just follow your rules? Because you could have easily avoided that and had a nice gain. But during the moment, I really didn't want to miss this play because I was stocking it and I already missed it on the front side, messed up on the front side, and now I messed up on the back side as well. It's kind of just been a frustrating ticket for me general because I just haven't got a good read on it. Like I just don't have a good read on it. But yeah, I bought the panic, sold right into the weakness, didn't wait for it to almost get to break even. I could have minimized most at least, and that would have been fine. But selling dang near to the bottom, that's not that's not smart. That's not smart selling. It's not cutting losses intelligently. Then trying for the higher low here, the sell off. This is okay, I will say, because I did cut right around when it broke that bottom. So my thing was here though was I was adding more size here than I was at when it got even lower, and then I had a like even worse average when I had to sell. So that's another red flag sale. So I was just extremely upset about myself with HTZGQ because it's just could have been easily avoided, and just it really just threw off. It didn't throw off my week, but this was one of those plays where it really just stuck to me throughout the whole week. Where it was just like, man, dang, it was just bothering me. But however, when I do have plays like that who just bother me, I just try to reset, refocus, refresh my mindset, and then just try to get back to the basics. Um, After that, it was pretty much just locking in singles throughout the week. I don't even think it was nothing too important this week. Um, I had S4 on this day. No, actually, I had S4 on the ninth because it became a multi-day runner, and it was a good sign that right here, once it spiked in the morning, this thing was a big percent mover. it dropped down 30%. I caught the bottom of it and I sold right into this pop here. Another thing about that was I was explaining in chat was just trying to sell in parts because I knew this was still front side of the move because it held green. So because I knew it was front side of the move, I didn't have to sell the whole thing. But in terms of percent, I was up quite a bit. I was up like 20 something percent. So I
Yeah.
just sold it all. But I have to think on plays like these, I at least have to think, selling over this breakout that 681 because if I'm buying right here, the potential of my reward is at least that just from a technical standpoint or reading the chart. So just trying to, rewrite that, maybe sell into this pop and next time and being good with that. Uh then MDAF was just a small loss, not really too much to go over there. Um it's same thing with this one, just a small gain, nothing too much to go over. I really just feel like on my winning trades, there's not really much to go over, literally because I'm doing the same exact things. And trading is supposed to be systematic. It's an art, but you are supposed to have a systematic edge in your approach to get really good at it. So when I just feel like when I do win, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. But when I lose or lose like not even necessarily lose, but lose uncontrollably. Like you see how I always say how I want my losses to be small in terms of percent. Too, never want to lose over 5%. But I have a four in the same ticker. I have a 6% loss, a 4% loss, and then I have a little 1% loss, which was okay. But this was just unacceptable to me, and this is more valuable than learning just about just the green tickers in my opinion, just because they are just what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just been nothing but dip buying panics at 30%. It's the same thing I've been saying and going over, trying to let them get to at least 10%, selling out when the bid stacks off at 10. Uh, S the bottom ticker, the ticker I played on Friday was probably the only, I would say, maybe different type of setup. But I only played it because the previous day I played it on 11th, but on the previous day gap down, it went down about 60, maybe a little over 60%. So on this day, I'm expecting like a first green day bounce. You can see on the daily that we never really got that bounce, but it did it almost went green on the day. But my intentions was to play it on that morning volatility. On these types of plays, I want them to either gap up or gap down. And when they show their first signs of weakness or when they like close, if they go under their previous close, I'm trying to buy that first initial dip, which I did. Yeah, which I did right in here. I wanted to get filled towards the bottom, but I got some sloppy. I got sloppy fills. But just selling right into the strength right around 315, locking in another like just quick, nice little single. So there's nothing. I would say there's nothing too important this week that I have to go over. There, as I am recognizing the opportunity that the market has been hot. So I'm glad there is all of these opportunities coming up too. Like RSCEF is coming up, uh, or still crazy hot. TSMP, you always got to keep a watch on that. Um,
Yeah, that's crazy.
you
Like
still
I.
have M. You still have MM. My bad. You still have MMEDF too as well.
Mhm. And no, I was
But
just saying, just like with CSNP, that's like it's almost like printing money. I see a lot of traders that are really banking on that.
yeah, like it's almost became too overcrowded in a sense though. That's why I've been avoiding it away. I was watching it over this for on Friday. I left early. Yeah, so I wanted to watch it over this mark, that 15.5 mark, because it was kind of creating that real tight range, and you see we finally got that pop. but I just missed it. So, but other than that, um, yeah, just it feels just like a regular week. It's nothing too important. Just a lot of singles. And finally it's a week where it feels like my work for the time that I have put in from freaking July to now. It's kind of showing some type of consistency because I wasn't consistent all throughout. I would be green, but I wasn't consistent in my process, which is two different things. And that was like you really need to. I feel like that's a very important thing to understand. It's not to me. It's more important to be more consistent in your process to be necessarily green or red on a day. Because if you're very consistent in your profits, your P&L will show for it. It will show. But yeah, just looking overall, just seeing just the progression of just 200, $300 days, $100 days. So now I'm finally getting 700, 400, 800, 800, and then locking in on just the single on Friday was just 400 too.
No, bro. I always commend you. Like what you're doing is awesome. I know a lot of times you're real hard on yourself, but like I keep saying, is like it's gonna come. Like
Yeah,
even though you feel like you're making mistakes and stuff like that, but it's definitely gonna still come because the longer and longer that you do it, and it's anything in life, the longer and longer that you do a certain thing, you gradually, start getting better at it. So
no, for
definitely good
sure.
job,
Yeah,
bro.
I told you I'm gonna be here forever.
Yeah.
So no plans on leaving. But the one thing that really just bothered me, just last thing on Tuesday, this was I would consider this like my biggest gain today,
Mhm.
like on because it was my biggest gain on the day for just trading wise. Besides the one time I got lucky on IBIO and I almost made 2,000, but that was out of
Oh,
luck.
from the breakout. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, when it came to real trading, this was a day where this wasn't any luck. This was my process making me this money, which was cool. But then I came back that following next Tuesday and pretty much lost everything that I put in that work for. And it was just like, man, something is still flawed with my trading. Whether it's like just I have to completely accept following my rules all the time because my rules keep me safe and it's gonna keep me profitable over the long term. Like it's gonna the marketers will have to beat me like over 1,000 trades if
Right,
I do lose.
right, 100%.
That's that's all I got for this week. It's cool though just to see that I am already past like my best month already. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And then I'll be seeing other people's stuff. I don't compare myself to them because I know they're like farther ahead of me.
Right.
But it's just like, dang, I know I can do what they doing.
No, exactly. I always had the same
Yeah,
mindset as well too. Like if somebody else is
yeah.
able to do something, I believe I could do it as well. No ego or anything like that. Just the fact that you're
Just
human, I'm human. So
yeah. It's like if you can, I can.
exactly. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. So for me, seen a lot of missed opportunity on my end. Don't get me wrong. I had a really good week, but very very missed time a couple of things. The first trade. Take off number two. First trade. I want to go over is pretty much Hertz. And I traded on the first red day. And I'll show you guys my entry exit. This wasn't perfect by any means. Like, I messed it up bad. Okay, so for me, when it on Hertz, right out the gate, this was the red green line. I saw that it had this big flush. So immediately when I saw the big flush, I started trying to slam orders right around here, but no fill. So I had to chase a little bit. And mind you, I didn't chase with full size here. I ended up adding my full size right here of 5,000 shares. The next thing you know, it went green. Oh crap, so I gotta cut it. So I went ahead and cut it. And I was like, okay, next time it goes red, I'm just gonna go ahead and, and slam back on full size, which I did right here. Because I think with this little run up, I was maybe down. I was down maybe like $600. $600 just from this little small. Since I had full size, so I was down like $600 right around here. So I added on size again. I think my average on this was like 249, which was good. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna play it high day. I'm not even gonna, just in case if it try to wick up and goes green again, and unless it crosses the high of day, I'm not gonna get out. So of course it came and tried to test again, and immediately we had some panic. And one thing that I was thinking I was gonna do is like, okay, if there is a reversal, I want to go ahead and pay myself just in case, you know. So I paid, quick little reversal that started happening right around here. So I got out maybe like 1,000 shares, and the plan was if it goes back up here again, I was gonna add back on the 1,000 shares to put back on full size if it was gonna bounce. Then the reversal happened, and it continued to flush. Then it tried to do another reversal right here, so I paid myself a little bit more.
That's the reason I did bought it too.
Yeah, because it wasn't
Uh,
as clean as normal first red days for OTC.
yeah.
So had another reversal, and as soon as I saw the stacking, I hurried up, got up, and you seen this little wick, little thing, because it popped up, then it came back down again. And once it got down to the twos, because I was thinking like, okay, twos, low twos, $2 is like psychological support and resistance. So it was at like 202, 203. I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and get out because I started seeing another stacking right here. So I got out. I was like, yeah, I got the bottom. I'm thinking I bottom ticked it. So it popped up a little bit, then it flushed again. I was like, dang, you gotta be kidding me. So on this part of the trade, I think I could have did better. This part of the trade, I think I wasn't perfect, but I played it, to the best of my abilities here because I had to
Yeah,
respect the
it
turning.
was.
It was dropping, but I had to respect the turning on the level too. So that's why, and I think I did really good as far as like just paying myself in pieces. So I think my overall average was around like 208 on my covers, which I think was really good. I mean, when you look at a hindsight, it's not that good, but I'm just saying with the current moment of how the stock is trading at that particular time. But this is where I messed up on my dip buys, and I definitely need to get better at my dip buying because I knew
It's
that this is gonna happen. And even when I was showing somebody else, like historically of how these stocks react on the first red day for OTC after it's overextended, it's gonna go to the VWAP. Once the bottom is set, it's gonna go to the VWAP. So right here, I slammed on 5,000 shares. Like this was after the dip. Let me see if I could make it a little better. So After this initial dip, I slammed on 5,000 shares, and I even told myself that I'm not gonna get out if the only way I get out if this is breached, the 180, because I got an average of 188 with 5,000 shares, and my risk was 180. So as you can see, I didn't stick to that rule. That's another ticker. As you can see, like here's the 5,000, and as soon as it went like 2 cents against me, I was like, nope, let me get out. I didn't stick to that 180 rule, and of course I tried to rebuy it here. And I sold here. We bought it again. I got out, and I bought it again, and I sold here. Like it was unnecessary, and not only was it unnecessary because at the same time, that's commission that I'm eating away at my profits. Because I think since I wanted to do it size, I don't have a huge account with E Trade, but I have a huge account with Cobra. So I was buying it in my Cobra account, so that way I can get as much size as I can. But the goal for this time, after I bought it here, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick to it. Just keep it simple. I think I even told you that I'm just gonna keep it simple. And I think a lot of times for me too is when I start saying, okay, keep it simple. That's really the best way because even though it's a dip buy,
Trading is supposed to be simple.
yeah, even though it's a dip buy, I think sometimes I try to overcomplicate it. Like draw your line. 180 is the line of is the sand in the line. If it pass under it, yeah, you may have a little slippage, but you could calculate how much you're willing to risk because these OTCs essentially on the dip they react so slowly as far as like the progress, the grind to eventually having this upward trend. So I said I'm gonna keep it simple. I didn't put on size on this one because 180 was so far, and I was like, I'm only willing to risk X amount. So if we get the 180, so be it. I get out, and I could reevaluate again. So I got in. I was patient through this, and as soon as it cracked over two, I was like, yep, let me get out. But the target
It
was VWAP.
was the VWAP.
Yeah, it was VWAP.
So it's VWAP.
Yeah, and the dip itself, like I said, I didn't play that to the best of my ability. Um, I wish I would have, did it the first time and just say this is the line in the sand, 180, 5,000 shares, because that 5,000 shares that I had, that would have been like a $2,000 trade just from this move, to VWAP, and that's something else that I could have added on, to I know we trade process, but the result sometimes the result of your process is the profits that you get because a lot of time we'll say like, man, we didn't do our process right, and hence it's going to be okay, we didn't get as much money as we could have gotten out the stock. So that was the second part of it, and the third part of the first red day is like the afternoon. I didn't get size on this, but I did short it and I covered like close to the end of the day. The goal, what I said to myself was to to cover around maybe like 350. I think I covered this at like 340. Like just the extra 10 minutes I could have waited because after this, I think it dumped a little bit more where I covered. Yeah, there it is right here.
Oh, yeah, finished. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean that's not too bad though.
right, but the thing is that I'm just trying to grind for myself is like you said you're gonna do this, but you're not doing it. So keep doing.
Oh yeah,
So keep
your
doing.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I keep breaking my rule, it's creating bad habits. So I mean, overall, I think with this trade, I made like 2,300, but it could have been 5, 6, 7,000 had I just played it correctly. So
Yeah, if I would have just drew my line like I do with every other stock,
yeah,
I would have probably Been close to the bottom. It just hit 183,
Right.
risking 3 cents.
Yeah, and and that's the hardest thing about trading too is like
It's
uh
always the hindsight.
yeah, the hindsight, and plus like when you make your plan and it's right, because when another thing about it too, when you're making your plan, you're clear headed. You know, you could see it, you're making it, but then when it's the heat of things, sometimes you get a little emotional and be like, oh, I don't want to miss it, or I don't want to do this. And that's what causes
Yeah,
us to,
agreed.
yeah, that's what causes us not to trade to the best of our ability. So my goal going into next week is definitely like keep doing my pre-planning and execute on what I pre-plan. Like, don't overthink it. Don't. If I said I'm gonna do this, then this is what I'm gonna do. No ifs, ands, or what. So that's the goal for me for next week. Um, Another good trade that I had was. This is another thing like this same scenario. First red day on PL NHF. Yeah, and the same thing for this. Like, as soon as it at the gate, and this is what I adjusted to the next day. After I took like a $300 loss on this little thing here on the first trade. But right up the gate, it went red. So I was like the first candle. So I was super eager. So I hurry up and slam 3,000 shares right here. And of course, it spikes up. I got to get out at the top. So I was like, okay, let me just take a step back. If this goes red again, I'm going to go ahead and go short. So, of course, it went red. So I chased it a little bit. I got in at like 3,000 shares at 6, risking this again. I think I was risking high there again because sometimes it may flicker up and go green, but got in. The next thing you know, we have this panic. Big panic. First, I saw it turning on level 2, so I got out a piece. Then when I saw the candle started getting, the second candle started was still green. I was like, "Yep, let me just go ahead and get out the rest." So I got out, and as soon as it got to like close to the VWAP, I shorted again, got out. Then of course, end of day, wanted to get out, do another short. So it's pretty much the same thing that I executed on HTZGQ. I just didn't buy the dip on this because I thought it should have flushed it out even more, but it didn't. Shorted and covered, and then like shorted after that. So that was to me those two trades. It were like textbook, of how you're supposed to trade. This one I traded it a little bit better due to like the how smooth it went. Um, so that was my Nasdaq short. Um, oh, the loss that I ended up breaking even on this trade. This was MMEDF because I thought that was the first red day. All right. So with this trade again, and also let me. I guess I didn't show you how the chart looks. So the first time I traded HTZGQ, I have this massive up day, first red day, which was this. That's when I shorted. Same thing for it here. Have this up day, first time I went red, I shorted. So I was thinking it's going to be the same thing. You have green day, green day, green day, first red day. This is where I shorted. But I thought for this one, I thought it was going to have a huge panic. pretty much give give everything up, which is good. All right. So with this, red green is right here. As soon as it went red, I tried to slam on 5,000 shares. I think I only got 130 filled, like, as soon as it went red. So I'm like, oh crap, I'm about to miss it. That's the first thing I thought in my head. So of course I'm putting on shares here. So and we have this big swipe up. I was like, man, this thing looks like it's about, like, over here I was contemplating whether or not should I just cut it and just reevaluate if it breaks this, then to just re-go short. And I was like, nah, let me just go ahead and just hold on to it a little bit more. And of course, like, as soon as I broke here, I was like, yeah, this thing looks a little strong, so I cut everything right here. Alright, so of course it goes green, and I was like, first time it goes red again, I'm gonna go ahead and short it. So the goal on this was to risk here. So I got 5,000 shares, went red, had a little dip, and instead of me waiting till they got here, I got out. So I got out, took another loss. You know, this loss right here should have been avoided. So I think at this point in time, in total, I'm down like 700 bucks between this trade and this trade. So waited till it got red again, shorted, and I end up covering, or I covered somewhere like before it had this bounce again. So pretty much I end up breaking even, made back with this second short, made back 700. At the end of the day with this stock, it ended up going closer to red green, which the next day it just ripped the short's face off. So the key thing about that trade for me was expecting all the first red days to just happen the day that I'm deciding to short on, because I was up pretty nicely on this trade, and instead of just taking some off, like when I saw clearly that the stock is not breaking down, like here, like once it did, had the bounce and it popped, it just made a higher low and starting to grind up. That should be an indication for me, like, go ahead and just get out. I think I ended up covering it like somewhere up here, or up here somewhere. But when it was down here, I think I was up over a grand. But I let the trade work against me, and of course you can see it just finally went green and had the massive growth. The last trade, this was a long for NASDAQ, but I think I really played this really well. This was S. So really for me, anytime that I see a chart like this, I'm normally thinking, in the morning, this is going to be a short, and it pops, I'm going to go ahead and short it. So the reason why I went long on this, and this is actually a broken chart, the reason why I went long on this was due to the fact that it was after 10:30. And not only that, the overall trend of this, like, I missed this. This would have been a perfect low hanger. Not first red day, but first green day. Low hanger for a broken chart. But it popped, so I missed that as far as on the short side. So one thing that I liked about this was after it, it had this pop and it had this massive sell-off. you could still see that the trend is still intact and it's working within the channel. So quickly, I thought about, I don't know if it's a wedge or a triangle. I remember what pattern this is. I mean, I remember just seeing this before, like with other traders. So I don't know the technical name, but I know like just the basic of how to trade it. Once it gets above the triangle, if it breaks below, it's more likely, bearish. If it gets above, it's bullish. So I just coupled a couple of things that I learned from MIC. The 1030 rule, above VWAP. So I bought it. Alright, so I bought it as soon as it got above VWAP. As soon as it got over VWAP right here. And my goal was to sell close to the highs. So I did leave on a piece. So I sold majority of my shares on this spike and got some top ticks right here because I knew this was going to be like the first resistance, and typically once it spiked to it, it's going to reject. So I left on a small piece, I think maybe like 1,000 shares because I bought 5,000 here. I left 1,000 shares right here, thinking that it was going to have this another leg up, and I had the line in the sand for me was $1. So if it crossed below $1, for it to automatically just get me out, which it did. It just got me out, and it flushed down a little bit more. Then it spiked. But the overall picture here of this trade was really just drawing my trend lines. Like now more and more I'm drawing the line because like sometimes I can eyeball it, but just having the visual just to be able to see.
Yeah, you just need to draw the line.
Yeah, like just seeing
it's just why not?
Yeah, it
Not
don't
having advantage.
exactly. So once I saw it and it was getting tighter, I bought it right here, and I was risking. I was risking 188, just a little bit of wiggle room. So I bought it right around here, and plus it'll just conform it so perfect because I drew the line right here, right here. So as the chart start moving, this line just automatically just progressed. So on this dip, it touched it where I had initially just drew my line, and it just bounced off of it. I was like, oh yeah, this thing's about to pop. And boom, it just popped, and I just started selling on the way up. So this was like by far one of my easiest longs because Rocky knows this. I really don't like the long. But
yeah, that was a nice little trade.
Yeah, but lately, like just seeing it, I'm able to start seeing a little bit more. Even for Lake, I didn't trade this. Not Lake, Life. I drew this line, and literally I just went to the bathroom and I missed this. So I drew the line. I was like, okay, here's the support here. And I love to see the stocks like trending right around VWAP. So I saw it like right around here. And I went to the bathroom. By the time I came back, it was like right over here. I was like, oh man, I missed it. Had I just kept it on my watch, it had a little dip again by VWAP. Could have got in, but I figured like the move was over since it got like close to up here, close to this line, because that was going to be my overall get out point to sell. So it went like 573 all the way to 632. That's a pretty good trade, especially if you have put on a little size, 1,000, 2,000. You're just risking either here or VWAP, depending on how much size you have. You get this pop, boom. You take a nice little single, but you have size with it. That single be definitely a good trade. But that's all for me from this week. Very excited about what's going to happen next week. Like you said, we do have a few trades that are setting up, like RSCF. The OTC, so looking for a first red day on this one. If it goes even higher, that's even better. Because the way that RSCF is acting, I think it could go even higher if everything stays the same. But I'm looking for another CYDY opportunity. Because I think we could redeem ourselves. What do you think, Rocky?
Yeah, we'll just have to see. You just gotta take it day by day.
Yeah.
I'm not even expecting nothing. Every single time I expect something, it goes left. So I just react.
Yeah. Well,
When I think the market is gonna be hot, it goes cold. When I think it's gonna be cold, it does some crazy stuff. So I don't even try to guess anymore.
yeah, like, and for me, like, I just,
But hopefully,
yeah,
RSC, yeah, it looks like it's setting up,
yeah,
and as long, yeah, with MDEF as well. So
I just need, I think I just need one more crack at a CYDY. I think,
so I just need. He said I need a life changing stop for the one time.
yeah, one time for the one time.
I feel you.
Yeah, but overall, though, I mean, like you said, the market's been hot. I have been switching my focus a little bit more to OTC due to what I'm seeing. You know, it's what's working, and we'll definitely see next week what opportunity lies. You got anything you want to add before?
No, I'm straight. I'm good.
All right. Well, to everybody that's watching, we'll see you guys next week.